November 9th, 1620, the Mayflower arrived in Cape Cod. The ship was filled with Puritans fleeing religious persecution by King James of England. This began our country's journey towards religious freedom. In 1776, we gained that freedom as a new self-governed country. All people were free to pray and worship of the Judeo-Christian faith when and where they pleased, until 1962. That year, the Engel versus Vitale case changed all of this. A few families in New York claimed that a voluntary prayer that had been written by the State Board of Regents violated their religious beliefs. This led to the court ruling that prayer in public schools was unconstitutional and violated the Establishment Clause of the First Amendment. According to the Bill of Rights Institute, the ruling only stated that, quote, "It is no part of the business of government to compose official prayers for any group of the American people to recite as a religious program carried on by government." This does not state that a teacher cannot lead prayer with students at school. It only says that the government can't force the people to be a part of it. Today, however, teacher-led prayer has been entirely ruled out. Only students are allowed to lead prayer at any school function. This should not be the case. First and foremost, preventing teachers from leading prayer violates the First Amendment. This impedes upon these teachers' rights for freedom of speech and freedom of religion while they are at school. Many argue that as government employees, teachers leading prayer in school violates the Establishment Clause, just as in the Engel versus Vitale case. However, a teacher leading those who want to participate in a prayer is simply that teacher putting his or her rights to use as a private citizen. The prayer is not being mandated by the government, and it is each individual's choice of whether or not to participate. The Establishment Clause states, "Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion." Those who argue against prayer in schools overlook the fact that this was originally only added to the Constitution to prevent the establishment of a national religion, not to keep religion out of government places. Many sources, including the Heritage Foundation and the Bill of Rights Institute, provide proof that separation of church and state is merely a philosophy presented by Thomas Jefferson in a letter he wrote and is nowhere to be found in the Constitution. Furthermore, a person does not lose his or her rights as a person just because he or she is an employee of the government. This is why anyone, including teachers and students, should be allowed to lead Judeo-Christian prayer at any school function, such as graduations, assemblies, sporting events, and within the classrooms. I specify Judeo-Christian because this is what the prayers should be limited to. When allowing prayer in public schools, questions come up concerning the various religions. Questions are asked such as, does this include all religions? Will a teacher who believes differently be allowed to lead students in a satanic or Muslim or Hindu prayer or whatever other prayer they so choose? The solution to this is limiting it to Judeo-Christian. As stated earlier, our nation's very foundation is on the Judeo-Christian beliefs. The Declaration of Independence itself says, "We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal and endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights." Our nation's pledge that is recited by most schools across America and at most sporting events says, "One nation under God." And the pledge is mandated by the government. Therefore, the only solution to this controversy over prayer in schools is to allow all people in the schools, including faculty, to lead Judeo-Christian prayer freely, as it is constitutional. To help bring about this change for the better, students, faculty, or anyone affected by the school system can appeal to local schools, districts, and state legislators, and can also rally support from local churches. It is my hope to see people take action and stand up to the government for the basic constitutional rights of teachers and students, and one day I desire to see Judeo-Christian prayer led by anyone allowed back in our country's schools. Thank you.